All right, so that is it with the big news from this week. So I'm going to bring it home with just a quick Obi-Wan episode 4 reaction. So episode 4 came out. One of the shorter episodes I think so far. I think it was only about like 40 minutes long. So this whole episode was entirely about rescuing little Princess Leia from the Fortress Inquisitoris, which that name is really something. I don't know. It's funny. I guess they mentioned it. Like, I forgot that it did appear in Fallen Order, in the Jedi Fallen Order, the video game, and I forgot if they called it that in the game or not. But when they said it in this episode, it was a little funny to me. But it's Star Wars, so I mean, like, everything's fucking weird and funny. So yeah, so we got this episode. So we got a little bit of Obi-Wan recovering in a back to tank, and then we decided. He said, "Hey, we got to rescue this girl." So we met some more rebels, and they found a way to get onto, the Fortress Inquisitoris, which is on that like water moon outside of Mustafar, one of the moons that circles Mustafar, which is where Vader's base is. So he keeps his Inquisitors close. We got to see Purge Troopers, which actually are characters that were introduced in Jedi Fallen Order. They're like black armored stormtroopers, and they have a little bit like a fancier kind of looking armor and little like frills on it. And they're the ones that are like the elite ones that like hang out in the Fortress Inquisitors. The Fortress Inquisitors. I really can't with that. It's the more I say it, it sounds even stupider. But why don't they just call it the Fortress of the Inquisitors? Just call it that. That's fine. That's fine. We don't need Fortress Inquisitoris. Like it's fucking Latin. Like it's not. Does Latin even exist in the Star Wars universe? Think about it. Think about it. So yeah, so we got this. So we got a fun episode. It was a fun little heist movie. Part of me, we had Obi-Wan infiltrating the base through underwater, which was cool. We got to see him start to kind of like, he's starting to like reconnect with the Force a little bit. He still is like, Obi-Wan was never like a really flashy swordsman. Obviously, especially not in the Alec Guinness version, but even compared to like Anakin and some of the crazy stuff we saw Yoda doing in the prequels, he was always never a very flashy. He was kind of a slower, more calculated like lightsaber wielder. You could look at that as like, oh, he's still kind of like working out the kinks, but also like he was never like the like flip and spinning around a million times and like do all these fancy things. So he did that, but he still looks a little rusty. We'll say that. He was very surprised when he got to use his Jedi mind trick and it worked. He was like, oh shit, good, okay, I can do that. He was able to get those stormtroopers to like think the sound came from somewhere else and go search a different area so he can move down the hallway. So we had a nice little infiltration kind of like heist episode with Obi-Wan trying to get Princess Leia out. One of the things I'll mention, I thought about this during the episode, but then also came to another realization. First off, the realization was I was like, wow, the Empire is just fucking has really bad security. I mean, and I was thinking, I'm like, are they really like that stupid? Like, how did he get in? How did he get past all of these checks, like, security checks. I keep forgetting her name, but the female that is like a double agent officer for the Empire and like Jedi helper or rebel whatever. Rebel. She like, I feel like how many times have they used that trick over like, they're suspicious of me. Let me just try and shame the other Empire officer, and if I shame him enough and throw rank around, they'll just back off. They do that all the time, and I'm just like, wow, it just seems really easy to like break into like all of these Empire facilities or blow them up. So I was kind of thinking it was like a thing that was isolated to this episode. So I was kind of like, really, like that's very convenient. But then I just said, I thought about it and I was like, they've never been good at security, though. They've never been from the get-go. In the new movies, in the prequels, in the original films, the Empire seems really unorganized, has very bad security, and almost like really fucking naive. So I was gonna kind of like fault the episode. I was like, it's just way too convenient, and it seemed like a very easy heist. But at the same time, when has the Empire ever been good at keeping people out? We got a little more development this week on Reva. We spent a little more time with her. I don't know if I want to call it development, so to speak. We didn't learn like much more about her past, but we did get a little more time with her. I am fine with this character. I know people are saying like that, and Mario kind of like thinks I think it was more that like he just thought that she seemed out of place because she was just like a regular human with these weird aliens. A lot of other people are just saying that like she's poorly developed and they don't like her character. I mean, I'm cool with this character. She's like an overly ambitious, maybe sometimes naive, blinded by her you know, pursuit of power kind of character. And like, I'm okay with that, just being like this brash, young, you know, insecure, obviously, you know, member of the Inquisitors. And like, obviously, she has a lot of ambition, but sometimes that it's kind of blinding her and like leaving her making stupid decisions. And yet she almost gets killed by Vader in this one. Like, Vader was just like, I told you it was going to happen. Yo, I told you it was going to happen if you fucked up. And he like choked her out bad. But that was a cool little reveal at the end that she threw a tracker. And at first I was like, oh, how convenient. You got a tracker on one of the ships. But then to find out in that last shot that she had threw the tracker on Princess Leia's little droid, I was like, oh, you know what? I didn't even think of that. And it makes so much sense because she had it in her hand. And I actually thought that was actually like a cool little touch. So she's a little smarter than you think. She's crafty, but she's definitely like, she makes me like, that's fine with me to have that character. She doesn't need to be like a friggin' like perfect death machine. Like the fact that she's a little flawed and, you know, listen, so was Anakin. You know, like, let's not forget, he was making like a lot of like decisions and definitely conflicted. And, you know, I mentioned last week that I have a feeling that they're going to try to like, that she is going to turn out to be one of those kids that survived Order 66 and was taken in and tortured and brainwashed by the Empire to flip sides, very much like the second sister was in Jedi Fallen Order. And I have a feeling they might be moving towards a redemption arc with her, which I'm just like, I even after 6 episodes, even if you develop her even more, like much better or more deeply than you have, I'm still not going to like buy or care about a redemption arc. And it's just like, I'm tired of the redemption arcs. Like, let people just be, we can have a couple of people that are just fucking bad. Like just straight up bad, horrible people. And she could be like a bad, brash, like stupid, you know, kind of character that and ultimately gets done in by her own hubris, you know, like, that's okay. And that seems like how they're developing her, but I just really hope they don't do the redemption arc. Let's just keep her bad. I was very upset when they did it with Kylo Ren. The greatest redemption arc in history is Darth Vader. And like, nothing's ever going to live up to that. You're not going to develop a character enough for me to like want that. Like, they wanted to do that with Kylo Ren and it just did not work for me. Like, he was just no, keep him bad. Like it sucks, you know, that he's Han and Leia's kid, but like, just keep him bad. He killed Han. It's unforgivable. It's unforgivable at this point. So I don't know. So overall, I did like the episode. Again, it does, like I said, it does make the Empire look completely fucking useless. And you wonder like how they even managed to like get to the point that they did, you know, and like have all these plans and like make the Death Star and actually like get, you know, take over the majority of the galaxy. Cause you're just like, wow, you guys can't seem to even just keep people out. You're not good at it. You just straight up suck. You're very incompetent. You guys have horrible aim. You know, like even like, you know, some of the stuff like in the hallway with OB blocking all the shots. Cool. He had the probe droid behind him and then the 2 stormtroopers in front of him shooting at him. And there was like definitely a couple of spots where I was like, he's blocking the other person, so they could totally get a shot off on him. There's been like a little bit, I have to say, like there's some staging things, like, you know, like the comically slow chase again to capture Leia in like the first episode, and then also again in the second episode in Dayu, whatever. That was kind of like, I was like, oh, I mean, I kind of forgave it, but I was just like, this kid's running so slow. We should have caught her already. There's been a couple of weird things with the action there. I'm just like, it seems like they're slowing things down a little too much. It doesn't seem like that much of a threat here and there. But again, just watching Ewan McGregor and just like a good sneak around stealthily kind of episode was very fun. So I did very much like the episode. The Empire's stupid. I like Reva. We have 2 episodes left. Hopefully, though, at this point, I'm kind of like, I like that they did the Leia thing. I've appreciated it so far. They rescued her back now, and I'm kind of hoping that they're done with that now. And like the only thing is now that it's like Leia's droid, when they do drop her back off, like they're going to be tracking back to Leia. So I have a feeling like she's still going to be involved in the next 2 episodes. But I kind of was hoping they would just put that part to rest. Like, okay, we got her back now. She got captured like 17 fucking, not 17 times, whatever. She got captured once. Um, you know, we rescued her, and they got captured again, and then we rescued her. And like, okay, that's enough. Like maybe we could just get her back now, and she's safe on Alderaan, and we can just kind of follow Obi for the next 2 episodes. And I'm assuming there's going to be a showdown with the Inquisitors, and I'm very much assuming we're going to have one more showdown with Vader. That's a little more less Obi-Wan getting his ass kicked, and a little more of like a sick, awesome battle between the two, or at least like just some really intense meeting between the two of them again, where they can kind of like grieve and let out some of what they've been feeling. I almost want them to just sit down and have a one-to-one tell-all. Like, man, it really bothered me when you cut all my limbs off. And he's like, well, it really bothered me, man, when you betrayed me. I do. Like, I want that. I want to get into their psyches a little bit. I want to see them interact a little bit more. Obi-Wan and Vader, that is. So, yeah, I'm hoping the Leia thing, I liked it. It's cool. I hope they kind of just like put that to the side now, and we can just kind of focus on Obi. So that is my episode 4 reaction.